The fourth generation Corvette, aka C4 Corvette, is arguably the best Corvette for lemons.
Yeah, but there's a catch. It turns out there are cheap C4s, there are good C4s. Those are often not the same C4s. In other words, if you score a C4 for Lemon's money, it has a high chance of being terrible.
Dang it.
We've witnessed this trend of bad lemon C4s for many years now, and even developed a special game show for any race that happens to have more than one C4 racing.
Which Corvette sucked least?
Here's a Corvette that has won multiple awards in lemons, and here's the story of a team not sponsored by and their 1992 C4.
Not Sponsored By is based in Salt Lake City, but they aren't afraid of a Lemons road trip. In the 2024 season alone, they competed in places like Sonoma Raceway out in California and the National Corvette Museum track in Kentucky. Well, I suppose they kind of had to do NCM.
The team originally got their Corvette when it was literally on its way to the junkyard. Had a salvage title from a wreck, was sort of fixed and used as a daily driver after that, and then it became an autocross car where it eventually spun a bearing.
Yeah, the team captain David offered the guy $300 with the promise that he'd get it running again, and then it sat for 5 years at David's yard. But then David went to Sonoma to watch a Lemons race and was inspired. He had a plan to A, race the Corvette in California, and B, race it at NCM against his brother Ryan's team, who was also racing a C4.
Nothing too exotic went into the prep. The motor is stock LT1 with an added oil cooler. Suspension is stock stuff, lowered an inch or so with homemade suspension arms and T5 spindles. Brakes are from a C6. Wheels are 18x9 with 265, 35, 18 rubber. It's possible that the Corvette is somewhat less than the sum of its parts. In Team Captain David's own words, it's like you're back in the 90s, racing a wonderful car on a wonderful track, and then you get your doors blown off by a Civic or some other car that a vet should be able to beat, and then you come back and finish in 84th or something.
So the obvious solution to this is to limit your competition and measures of success to other C4s, which of course is what happened at NCM when David and his brother Ryan finally faced off in their dueling C4s. David came out on top, finishing 58th to his brother's 75th.
Hey, who won that race anyway?
Toyota Camry.
That's humiliating.
Anyway, the dueling C4 brothers shared an Organizer's Choice trophy at that event, which was not the only Lemons trophy to find its way to David and his Not Sponsored By team.
Fast forward a year to 2024, when the team towed from Salt Lake City to Thunder Hill in Willows, California, in their trusty 80s RV, and exploded the RV's motor about a mile from the track. Then they crashed the Corvette. Now, their original plan was to swap the 350 from the Corvette into the RV and call it a weekend. But then, with various help from Lemon staff and fellow competitors, they were able to find a different replacement engine and simultaneously swap the RV motor and fix the Corvette suspension by welding some reinforcements made of a floor jack handle before the end of the race. Then they successfully drove 12 hours back to Utah with no issues. They got a heroic fix trophy for that.
So, this is one of the most successful C4s in Lemons?
One of them, yeah.
And the team's main accomplishment is crashing it, blowing up their motorhome, and beating the team captain's brother who had a Corvette that was somehow even worse?
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?